And welcome back to episode 66 of the Hit the Showers podcast, presented to you by the Foolproof Entertainment Network. As always, I am your host, Clifford Jordan Jennings. Got a new point man and co host in the building today, but y'all might recognize the face. My guy, Jay Mead. What's poppin'?
What's going on, man?
Shit, just waking up, man. It's been a
I
sleep.
know I had to call you and everything.
It's
You
been
was
a
sleeping
sleepy
beauty over there.
sleepy weekend for me. I ain't gonna lie about that. I've been knocked out. But what's good?
Man,
We gonna talk college football, I suppose, and we'll get into some Sunday Week 2 NFL predictions. But I know you got
well,
some shit to say about last week, so go on, get it off your chest.
I wasn't gonna say
You
anything.
was.
Nah, you gotta, I ain't got nothing to say until we
Listen,
play that game.
like I told
Until we
Mal,
play that game, I got nothing.
don't get hype. Y'all played Bishop Sycamore. Ain't nobody worried about that win over
I
NIU.
mean, that's cute, but at the end of the day, that's kind of who y'all playing right now, and it's still close.
Man, I take Tulsa over NIU, but still, that is the truth. It shouldn't be this close. But that's because Ohio State's defense is awful. This is not a secret. I've been saying this not even since this season for years now. I said that's been what's been turning me off from watching a lot of Ohio State football, because I'm more of a defensive minded guy than a offensive guy, and watching that shit is brutal. Like, that shit hurts.
See, and I'm not a lot of Ohio State fans that I know and talk to and care somewhat deeply for. They like to brag about the Ohio State defense because y'all put a lot of players in the league, right? You know, like whether they start or not doesn't matter to them. But like, there's a certain point where you guys do. Ohio State produces a lot of players that go into the draft and they get drafted. But at the end of the day, usually year in and year out, it's the defense that's a problem. It's the defense that's suspect. That's why I'm surprised when everybody's like, "Oh man, Ohio State's got a good defense." Like, y'all not even
I've
usually
never.
top five.
I don't
They're not
know.
even top five in the Big Ten usually.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
of the last year that I can say Ohio State has had a good defense, like a good defense. And I was
yeah,
talking about it with I think it was Mike on a Wednesday show, that it seems like they put all of their recruiting effort into the defensive line. We hadn't had a good
yeah.
linebacker since AJ Hawk. You think about Nick Bosa, Joey
Ah,
Bosa, Chase Young, all these people are
true.
defensive line players. Like, where the fuck is our secondary at? I'm not talking about a Roby. I'm not talking about a Arnett. I mean, like, a true defensive back. Like
A true lockdown.
right. Like,
Yeah.
they don't exist when you're talking about Ohio State.
And that's what, so you also see the difference in how they developed some of those players at Ohio State compared to a lot of other places. You know, you got out there, they tend to pride themselves more on being ball hawks,
Right.
where they lack tackling. Like, it was one of the biggest problems for Marshawn Lattimore when he got in the league, right? He was a suspect tackler. He was undersized, underweight. He put on some muscle, came into the NFL and did his damn thing. And he became one of the top guys in the league. But how many people can say that coming out of Ohio State?
Right.
You know, like you mentioned Roby, you mentioned some of those guys. Like, yeah, for the most part, they might be a nickel corner starter, but most of them aren't starters.
You said
Like,
it. You just said it.
you don't have guys they get drafted and then it's like Garyon Conley. Wasn't he a first round pick? And he was one of the more sound ones technically in my mind than a lot of the guys that came out in that same year. Because that was him, Hooker. I believe Lattimore was in that same class. Like, them guys, I was like, Garyon Conley was the most technically sound for me.
Yeah, I can't
And then,
remember all of them.
yeah, it's getting crazy. Like, I don't.
But you know what it seems like? It seems like, especially with like some of those names that you named, it seems like Ohio State will put out a decent defensive back, but they'll never be ready. They don't come. It's like a frozen. They're frozen DBs, right? A frozen dinner. It's already cooked, but it's not ready for you to eat. You still have to do some extra work on that, whether it be put it in the microwave or oven,
And
or and cook
and
it
that's
longer.
why if you have you seen the video about like all of the players that Ohio State has developed? And I put quotations around that for a reason, because I don't feel like Ohio State's ever done a good job developing anybody.
They haven't. Not even
there's
their
a certain
quarterbacks.
Exactly.
And that's who they like to put their attention behind.
For whatever reason.
Right.
Not like they've had a good one to speak of. Like, everybody keeps wanting to give Fields a chance, but I'm like, I got to realize, like, it's not a bad quarterback in front of him right now. And why put him through the ringer to possibly get hurt?
Right.
If that's who you drafted for your future.
Right.
Bears fans, to me, are crazy. They nuts. They are nuts. But that's why I like the video where they talking about all the people that they developed. I'm like, where? Like, you basically got them. They were the same player from the beginning, and then they left the same player. They got to do a lot of work on their own once they get to the NFL, and then they get to the NFL and you see how not ready they actually were.
You know what? Ohio State is like Ohio State is like a housewife. Like you
Okay.
Ohio State is like a housewife. Ohio State is like a housewife after you've arrived.
What you mean?
So, like, you know how, like, they say, you know how, like, athletes always say, I wish I could have stayed with my high school sweetheart because she was with me when I had nothing type shit.
Yeah.
And then you get with that housewife when you made it and they don't do anything to better you, but they expect you to do everything to keep them afloat. You know what I mean? Like, so okay. I'll bring in all the players that I know are just naturally talented. They're good enough. And yes. I'm not going to put too much attention into them, but I expect them to be the best they can be for me. That's a housewife to like a star. Like when we need a housewife to one of the broke dudes in college that's like, nah, we gonna build this brand together. We gonna work together to make sure that's what those kids at Ohio State need. And Ohio State doesn't know how to operate like that. They expect you to have enough talent to put them on top alone. And if you don't get it in the 2 to 3 years before you get drafted, then you just got a fucked up career.
And I'll tell you what, I put that on. I thought that was going to change with Day, right? I thought for some reason that would change under Ryan Day, solely because there's a certain point where that was Urban Meyer's mantra. He made a career off of that. Go look at his time in Florida. Look at his time at OSU. This is what he don't develop nothing. Nobody.
He just expects you to be ready.
Exactly. He won't feel like when people were asking him questions about, Tebow's arm, he's like, it works for us right now. There was no interest in developing Tebow to become an NFL ready quarterback.
Right.
Not that Tebow did a bad job in the NFL. I mean, he won more playoff games than my boy Dalton. But at the end of the day, there's a certain point where you see what you see is what you get under an Urban Meyer type experience. And right now, Ryan Day seems to be following a similar tutelage and philosophy.
Right.
And the worst part is at least Meyer was able to put the right people around him to make the defense not look as terrible as it actually was. Right. And like he picked off, they got Madison from Michigan, and they took the other dude from Michigan, Ryan Day did. So, and that's where you saw the Chase Youngs excel. That's where you saw the Zach Harrisons excel.
Right.
This year, Zach Harrison looks like a very mediocre player for a guy who last year was supposed to be a star. And not now in this game that's currently going on, we got Zach Harrison's out. You got all the, like you said, absent DBs. I mean, these receivers are getting nothing but yards. They're making Bren look like an all-star quarterback right now.
That's how Oregon did us. They moved the ball at will.
But Oregon was on the ground.
They still, listen, I still saw them running them receivers ragged.
Oh, no, they did. They did.
Receivers ragged.
For sure.
Or, I mean, running their DBs, running our DBs ragged.
And that's the thing. When you're able to run, you're going to get more one-on-one situations with the DBs.
Right.
Because now you're going to have some people trying to cheat a play and linebackers that come in and Ohio State has a young defense, but they've had a young defense for how long? Because that turnover is stupid. It's just stupid.
Right.
And it's not like Michigan. Like we talk about. So I'm gonna ask you, based on what you've seen so far this year, is Ohio State the powerhouse that everyone thought they were going to be coming into this season?
I mean that's a very clear no. That's a very clear no. And
don't take the loss to Oregon as if it's like Oregon's not a bad squad, right?
No,
like that's not a bad loss to take.
It looked bad in the Minnesota game.
Yeah, it's looking bad in this one too. I mean, it's right now I'm sitting on 27-13, 12-13 left to go in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 12, and Tulsa's got the ball banging at the 22-yard line right now. Like you're not going to cover your spread, which has been an Ohio State curse for the past. Oh my God, touchdown! Like I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, 20-27, bro.
Unless Ohio State's defensive coordinators and all that and recruitment center can call a mulligan and re-recruit for the year.
I don't even think it's about re-recruiting. Like at a certain point, look, I'm saying it to. I'm looking for a job. I coach.
Listen,
I do this. I guarantee you, I'll put your guys on. I'll put your guys on better than your guys is putting them on right now. Okay.
Listen. I co-sign that. I bet he wouldn't because you can't go. There's nowhere to go but up from here.
You feel me? Like I'll take all of this off and I will wear gray. I'm not touching no scarlet, but I'll wear gray for the rest of my life if that's what y'all want to do. But
listen, it's just I don't know. I love Ohio State, but if they keep fucking up like this, we gonna have to take the fucking "the" off the front of our shit. Ain't no more "the" Ohio State no more. We just Ohio fucking State.
You gotta earn the back.
Right. It's like what the fuck. I think the got everybody too hyped up, and they thought they didn't have to work anymore.
You remember when these jackass fans tried to get the copyright on the Ohio State?
Right. You stupid.
I'm like, wait a minute, y'all goofballs, man. Listen, but there's a certain point where that's why I say, like, it's weird how the changing of the tide, because now that you got Ryan Day, and it's really becoming his guys now.
Right.
We're starting to get out of the Urban Meyer era. So, and I mean of recruits, not the coaching, but the Urban Meyer era of recruits.
I think we talked about it, and we said like next year he should be. Next year, the 2023, I think we said he should be all the way.
Yeah, and that's where we're starting to see, like, not only is it the coaching, but now you got new guys coming in, and people are like, oh, this is a young team. Well, for a young team, I remember when Michigan was a young team, and everybody was still dogging them.
Well,
you know what I mean? But they were still going 9-3. You know what I mean? Like
everybody dogs Michigan because they Michigan. Let's be real.
No, everybody here dogs Michigan because they're Michigan.
Man,
but
Michigan ain't shit.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The analysts hate them too. Analysts absolutely hate Michigan. I don't know what it is or why or who pissed in their Wheaties. I don't know, but the analysts hate Michigan too. Like it's becoming an obvious thing, and people hate to talk about how well Michigan's doing this year, how well Sparty's doing this year.
They are doing pretty good. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Like. And then you got Nebraska just had a really close game with Oklahoma.
But y'all ain't really been playing nobody either, so I can't really
we played Washington.
And y'all really ain't been playing nobody, so I can't say.
What you mean? Washington they started the season off top 25. They lost their first game in a really embarrassing. But the thing is,
and y'all really ain't been playing nobody, so once again.
But we not playing nobody, but we covering our spreads and then some.
No, you are.
So I that's one thing we weren't doing a lot of last year.
What y'all won today? 63-3 or something like that?
63-10, bro. 63-10. Like, at what point do you start to recognize, like, oh shit, like this team might just be a little scary?
I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna be the scariest year to watch an Ohio State Michigan game.
If you're an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, this is the scariest. This is the scariest year to watch that.
That's where me and Malk, and one of you guys asked me, it wasn't Malk, but one of you guys did ask me, they said, when is it enough for Harbaugh? At what point is it enough for Harbaugh? And I told y'all this year. This year is the year he has to do what he has to do.
If he finds a way to lose it this year.
Man, listen,
If he
get him the fuck
finds
out
a
of there.
way to
Get
lose
him
it
out.
this year,
Get him out.
listen,
I'm calling for his head my damn self.
you might have to go up to Michigan, cause that motherfucker, boy.
And if they need a coach, I'm looking for a job.
Listen, for all that, motherfucker, let me be the water boy. The fuck,
Man, you feel me?
I know they pay more than I'm getting.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong either. Shit.
Squeeze water through face masks. The fuck you need me to be thirsty?
Hey, I do want to bring up something real quick. Right now, Alabama and Florida are playing a hell of a close game. 31-29, 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. A lot of people did not see this coming. 31-29. Florida losing.
Who does
they down
Florida have
2.
this year?
Fucking nobody, as they usually do. Like nobody that anybody really knows. If that, like, you know what I mean?
Have they gotten any like coaching changes?
Like, nah, I think they still got the same guys. Coaching wise, I think they have the same guys.
Turnaround to be hanging up there with Alabama like that.
Well, you got to think Alabama. What all Alabama lose?
Yeah, you right. You right.
Like Alabama lost a lot, and this is now we starting to get to the NIL era, where you're not going to be able to keep getting these nasty ass recruiting classes because you may not be able to pay them that much.
Right.
Like now you starting to look at. All right. We're just gonna take a pause in the middle of the show. TV timeout. We're gonna take a TV break.
Nah, I just had to grab something real quick. It was on right outside my reach. I couldn't reach it.
So, but they lost a lot. Like you said, a lot of receivers. They lost a lot of defensive players. I believe they lost a few linemen too. But like Alabama, linemen? Yeah.
Didn't Leatherwood come from there?
I think he did come from there.
I think. I
don't know that for a fact, but I believe he did. But there's a certain point where like Alabama in this game was favored by 14. Y'all was favored by like 24.5 in y'all's games this week. Yeah. Y'all was favored by 24.5, and y'all clearly not going to cover that spread.
Man, not at all.
And then right now it's looking like Bama's not going to cover their spread. So there's a certain point where if you look in early in the season, which a lot of people don't like to do.
You did come from Alabama.
Yeah. But there's a certain point where we seeing a lot. And this week we had a lot going on. I was telling you before the show started, we had Cincinnati had a really good game, a close game with Indiana. Since he pulled out ahead and then got another last second touchdown in the fourth quarter, made it look a lot worse than it was. And then you had West Virginia upsetting Va Tech in a big way. West Virginia's defense came to play for real.
I was actually going to watch that game. I was on the Xbox and I was talking about that game with somebody and I forgot to. I turned it off.
Turn it on.
I turned it off to turn it on, and then as you can see, my black ass just was knocked the fuck out. I'm still wiping sleep out my eyes, boy.
Yeah. And then Sparty, you missed the Sparty game. That was a big game. Sparty, for the first time in I don't know how long, at least since D'Antonio for sure. Sparty played Miami, the U.
Okay.
Number 22, I believe. Yeah. And they won. Matter of fact, let me double check the score real quick because it was a big win for Sparty. I projected Sparty to win only because this is the first time that they've done as well as they have. I can't even remember. It was 38-17. They won by 21.
God damn.
Yeah. Like Sparty for first three games in the season have put up 30 plus points. That's crazy. Like to me, Sparty, they out here.
Let me find out them teams up north trying to do their thing this year, man.
And a year where y'all locking, looking like the Fickle year.
Hey, but need I remind you that first year we lost that game, we lost that game to who was it? Nebraska, I think. That we won the national championship.
Y'all ain't went. No, that was when y'all lost to Va Tech.
Oh, was it Virginia Tech? Yeah, it was Virginia Tech.
It was an overrated as hell Va Tech.
Okay.
I remember that year because that was the big question was, can we put them in with that loss to Va Tech?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You are correct.
Yeah, it was and had it not been for whoever was number 5 took a really bad loss too. Had they not taken that loss, that y'all wouldn't have gone in.
Right.
And that was going to be the big thing.
You all right? That West Virginia said.
And you lost at a good time. It was early in the season, so y'all lost at a good time to lose. If there is a good time to lose, best to lose early in the season.
Right.
So.
Well, they better. Oregon already gave us one, motherfuckers. Let's not let Tulsa do it too.
Yeah, but let's be real. Oregon, again, y'all is favored by 2.5 touchdowns. I don't know what Vegas was thinking when they made some of these spreads.
I mean,
but I'm not seeing Ohio State being 2 touchdown worthy against any ranked team right now, much less the unranked ones. Like I said, 20-27, Tulsa's hanging in there right now. And it's 9:30 left. Like, there's a certain point where you might just have to look at Ohio State like, yo, y'all might not be a top 15 team this year. Top 25, maybe. Y'all got a lot of offensive firepower, but this week, I'm not seeing a lot from C.J. Stroud that I'm impressed with, and I did see some things from him in the first game, but it looks like he's getting worse as the season progresses.
Oh no!
But that's where y'all also clearly do not have a quarterback who can run the ball no more. Where you guys are used to having that in Fields, and teams have to, worry about him running. Now you don't have that.
Right.
So it's easier for teams to game plan against Ohio State right now.
I mean, I've seen him move, but he ain't moving like no Fields or Barrett or
Braxton.
Right. But I've been the number one person that says we need to get away from that anyway.
I mean, I don't disagree with you at all.
No, I don't mind a quarterback that's willing to run, but when running is your first instinct, I guarantee you miss half your reads.
Well, and not only that, but when running is your first instinct, you're not a quarterback.
No, we can't say that.
Who?
That would be like saying Mick, or I said Mick, like Vic and Lamar Jackson aren't.
Lamar Jackson, listen, so
and those
Lamar
two
Jackson
are
is becoming
quarterbacks.
That. Lamar Jackson is becoming that. But he's also in a system that benefits him as far as being an option system.
Right.
Like, Baltimore is probably the only college or pro team bold enough to run a college scheme like that, and it's working for
Philly.
now. Philly did it for like a year or two.
Philly doing it now.
Philly, they ain't got no choice. They ain't got no quarterback.
Yeah, Philly doing it now with Hurts.
They got a running back.
RPO and RPOs and shit. I'm looking like, oh, this is college football.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I
you
said
feel
that
me?
though. I said
you
that's
feel
what
me?
they was gonna have to do if they started Hurts.
And that's where you got a certain point where, we had talked in a couple episodes ago, or a couple weeks ago in an episode, we had talked about how they brought in Gardner Minshew. And I think this was one of the reasons why they did it, because if this option style doesn't work throughout the season, they're going to throw Minshew in there.
Right.
Because there's no point now, don't get me wrong, I like Hurts. I really like Hurts. Like, I didn't pick him up in a fantasy league for no reason. So I like Hurts, but at the same time, I know we've seen too many Jalen Hurts, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We've seen too many Jalen Hurts in the league.
See, I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. But I think that we're finally getting to that happy medium.
Are we?
I do. I think so.
So what happy medium? Like, what do you mean happy medium?
Like that happy medium where it's like the quarterbacks that do prefer to run still have that work ethic to work on their passing and their arm. Like we were at a time where the running quarterbacks were just that, running quarterbacks. If they passed the ball,
yes,
it was a problem. And then we got to an era where it started to slow down a bit. Then we got Russell Wilson, who showed other quarterbacks who did run, oh, I could do this a little different and still, get my arm right. And then we started seeing more quarterbacks who did run still have a decent arm. And now we're getting to the point of, I think we're going to have that happy medium of run pass quarterback.
I think we're going to have a nice little couple years of it.
You think
but I don't see. I think we got a couple more years of it. And like, it's because we're getting more of the Vicks than the Russell Wilsons.
Right now, you think?
Yeah.
I don't think
we're getting more guys
statement.
who I think it's very fair. Who would you say right now is leaning right now to that happy medium that you're talking about?
Well, I'll tell you a lot. Well, let's be honest. I'll tell you
because it's not Lamar Jackson. He's a big style. He's a run style.
He's definitely gonna right. But he came out later though.
Yes.
Or I mean earlier. Earlier I meant.
What do you mean?
Like he came out earlier, like back when I was saying we're getting to that happy medium. So the reason why I said that I feel like that was an unfair assessment is because when you look at all the people that you could bundle into that category this year as far as freshmen, you got your Justin Fields, your Jalen Hurts, your Trey Lance. You can maybe even put Zach in there, but he's more passing. But who else?
Him and Josh Allen are still pass first quarterbacks.
Right, but Josh Allen is one. Now he's right on.
Oh no, he got wheels. Yeah,
he's
he
right
got wheels
in the middle. He is that what I'm explaining.
So we're starting to get to a point where the epitome of the dual threat is starting to come out more. And that's where I like to see our Kyler Murrays, our Josh Allens, our Russell Wilsons. Like those guys to me are the epitome of we'll hurt you just as bad with our legs as we can with our arms.
Right.
But you still got, and Dak Prescott's in that list too. Jalen Hurts is, Jalen might be there for me in a couple years as a dual threat, epitome of a dual threat because he's got the arm. He does have the arm.
I gotta take back everything that I was saying. That first game was scary from him.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is if he could keep that up, that might be too soon of an assessment to be placing on him and the rest of these young bulls because we haven't seen him yet. You know what I mean? Like we just haven't seen him out on the field yet. So we could come out there jaws drop. Like even Trey Lance in his NFL debut, a lot of those incompletions were drop balls by the wide receiver.
Yes. And that's where we watched Jameis Winston go through that quite a bit, actually, whether people want to admit that or not.
You're right.
Yeah.
Down in Tampa, he did go through that a lot.
He went through it even at Florida State. That's the reason they didn't get to a national championship. They lost the game because if you go back through that Florida State team that should have gone to a national championship, he putting the ball in the numbers and they just dropping it. And then you look back and you're like, damn, who was on that Florida State team? Once you figure it out, tell me. Because them cats are no longer around in football. Like, there's a certain point where we're starting to see the trend of quarterbacks themselves move into
I feel like I do know somebody that was on that team.
A different era. Yeah, a couple linemen in defense.
I'm either thinking of a wide receiver or a kick returner. I can't think of their name.
Oh, Dalvin Cook.
Is that who that was? That's
Dalvin Cook was out there. It was his freshman year. His freshman year was Jameis Winston's last year.
That's exactly who I'm thinking of.
I don't even think Dalvin was starting yet.
Yeah, because he was just a kick returner.
Yeah.
And then
he was just special teams.
Yeah, and he got in a little bit, but he was really just a kick returner. But he stood out to me, is why I remember him. I just couldn't think of his name.
But
what were you saying?
With the quarterbacks, like we're moving into me and a couple buddies of mine were talking about it the other day. We were trying to figure out what is a dual threat. A dual threat, by the most basic and simplest of definitions, is just a quarterback who can run the ball. So a lot of people fall under this category
as a quarterback.
A lot of people, right. But a lot of people fall into this category. Tom Brady's been in the league so long that he's actually listed as a dual threat because of his yardage over his career.
Right. I could see that, but I can't. I know.
But nobody would actually look at him and be like, you know what?
Right.
You know who I'm scared of running the ball? Tom Brady. Right. Nobody's saying that at all.
Motherfucking Tom Brady, the safety got time to crash down on your ass.
You feel me?
You cross the line.
Bro, I got a better chance that Tom Brady gets tracked down by one of them big ass defensive tackles
from the back end.
You feel
from behind.
Somebody, I got a better chance that Tom Brady gets tracked down by a defensive tackle that was pancaked and still just barely gets positive yards.
Listen.
Look, I'm not putting that man on no damn dual threat. Aaron Rodgers maybe, because we know he has some mobility and his escape ability is insane.
Aaron Rodgers a bit, but
I still wouldn't put him there though. You know what I mean? Like,
but I there's just a certain point where, though, with the statistics over the years,
but like for me, you've got your dual threats, but I've also got quarterbacks who can occasionally run. That's my opinion. That's my definition of a dual threat. But then you got running backs who can kind of throw, the Lamar Jacksons of the league,
right?
The Justin Fields of the NCAA.
Right.
And typically, not to be funny, but unless you get into a system where that shit works, you don't last.
Right. Shit, your boy. Don't act like your boy wasn't.
Denard Robinson.
No, I was going to say your boy, Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was that.
That's what I told you earlier.
Oh,
that whole thing, they never wanted to fix his throwing mechanics. My man threw sidearm. You can't throw sidearm in the NFL. It don't work. Mahomes, he throws sidearm getting out of a tackle. He's being brought down while he throws sidearm.
Last week he hit that one. They blitzed on his screen and he hit that one. Man, that nigga boy, he's cold.
But he don't. He's and Mahomes is cold. He's the Russell Wilson, the Kyler Murray. They are the epitome of the dual threat for me.
And think about it though. Isn't that where the league is going? Think about your top quarterbacks right now.
You remember,
barring the ones that have been in the league 15 plus, all dual threats.
So think about it this way. Yes and no.
Okay.
Do you remember about 15 years ago, they were like, oh, we're moving into more of a running quarterback because of the Michael Vicks, the Donovan McNabbs. You started seeing a lot of different guys who could run the ball, but then you still see the emergence of those guys who can throw. It's always on its way. Then. What you mean?
Who's the thrower out of that?
Tom Brady.
That's 20.
Peyton Manning.
He's been in 20.
McNabb and them came in like the 90s.
McNabb ain't still in the league.
That's my point. But you remember 15 years ago, they were talking about we're moving more towards a mobile quarterback era.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
And then the Drew Breeses, the Phillip Rivers, the Peyton Mannings, the Eli Mannings, the Tom Brady's, they started to come back in. Like there's a certain point where it looks cute. It's like a bitch with problems, right?
Not a bitch with problems.
The running quarterback is a female with problems. And I mean that because it looks pretty, right? You want to approach it, you can, hey girl, what's going on? You know, come buy you a drink, whatever. And then you realize the bitch is nuts, right? That's the running quarterback. Because once you realize, oh shit, they get hurt. They put themselves in really bad situations. Once you start to see that more, you'll start to see these teams go away from the running quarterback.
I ain't never dealt with no running quarterbacks, but I've dealt with a lot of.
But you see the comparison, right? Once you realize you got $20 missing out your wallet and she just happened to leave.
Well, that sounds like something else, sir.
I said 20, not 40. Where's your mind at?
Yeah, now, sounds like he rocked you to sleep and took a tip. Is what that sounds
That's what I'm saying. And that's what the running quarterback is. It looks nice. It works really good for a short time. But then it ends up turning into a RG3. Then it ends up turning into a Johnny Manziel. And Tim Tebow.
I don't know. I think it's tough to put Johnny in that category. I feel like the whole.
Oh, he definitely is.
I feel like the palace was crumbling. I feel like the palace was crumbling far before he got to put his feet to turf.
Oh, no doubt. He went to the Browns. Now, but at the end of the day, that's what it is going to turn into. Like, we're going to start to see where we're like, oh, man, we got these running quarterbacks, da-da-da-da-da. But then you get these backups that throw the ball, and when these runners go down, guess who starts?
Right.
The backups who throw.
Right.
And then once they start doing well, and you're like, oh, shit, look at us.
It's the opposite of Any Given Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is the starter. And
correct.
Right.
That's where you at though. Like that's where we right now we're infatuated with, oh my God, look at all of these guys who can run the ball. But then
I don't think that's what it is though. I think we're
it
getting away
is.
from that. I think we're getting to the point of the guy we're more amazed by the guy that throws that can run than the guy
But
that
that's
runs that can throw.
so who you referring to? Because ain't nobody nobody
I think
fears just
Mahomes falls into that. I think Josh Allen falls into that. The guy that
that's
throws
two.
that can run. I
So
think
let's talk about
Kyler.
what was everybody excited about with Justin Fields playing last Sunday? His 3-yard rushing touchdown.
I don't
No
even
one gave a
think-
damn about his 2 for 2
I don't think I
for
watched
10
that
yards.
game.
Nobody watched that game. It was the Bears.
Yeah, I don't
Now,
think I watched that. If I'm being
unless
honest.
you're a Chicago fan, nobody really watched that game.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
there's a
watch that
certain
one.
point. There's a certain point where everybody was talking about, oh man, he got his first rushing career touchdown in the NFL.
It
Not
was a
passing.
3-yard keep.
It was a 3-yard keeper. Like at a certain point, you got to realize, like my man threw 2 for 2. Yes, he was 100%, but
like,
2 for 2 for 10 yards.
and then what they put Dalton in.
Dalton was always in. He came
okay.
out.
Well,
He came out because
okay. I
yeah.
see what you said.
So Dalton had a better average. Obviously, with more attempts, you're going to have more incompletions. So he did have a worse completion percentage.
Right.
But at a certain point, like everybody's infatuated with this whole put Justin Fields in. He's exciting. He's a playmaker. Like I said, it looks pretty
Until he's in there, and then you see
until
this bitch is
he's
crazy.
in there, and then you see
This
McKinley
bitch is
until you
crazy.
exactly. And once he puts himself in the bat, let's be honest, this is a guy who even in college was fumble prone.
Right, he was.
So
He was.
he puts himself in really bad situations, and lucky for him in college, he never got hurt because he never got rocked.
I noticed that out of Jalen Hurts this weekend or this past weekend when he ran the ball, he would keep it like out in his passing hand. Like even though he passed the line of scrimmage, he would still keep it out like that. And it was one specific play where he got caught from the blind side and the receiver swatted his arm. But he held on to it though, and I was actually kind of surprised that he.
Well,
held
don't forget,
on to it. And then
Jalen-
you saw him tuck it the next couple plays. Like, I ain't about that.
Jalen big as a damn running back. And
Right.
he in that era with Cam Newton to me. Like these guys are quarterbacks, but they're as big as running backs.
But I don't care if Shaq got his big ass hand around that football. If you got a nice blindside swipe with a good amount of force, you can get that motherfucker the fuck up out of there.
Hey, we could put it to test one day, me and you. We'll do it. Get one of my little league footballs. I'll carry it out and you just swipe. See if
Oh
you can get
yeah,
it.
we can do that.
You got all right,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you gonna see.
Be ready for that foolproof.
You
Let's
gonna
go.
see you gonna see a blurred hand swipe down and that ball just go plopping off the turf. But yeah, no, I was impressed that he held on to that motherfucker, but he did tuck it after that.
But and Jalen Hurts also has what, a year's worth of being able to watch the game, right? He even got in some last year. So there's a certain
I
point
still
where
consider him a rookie though. He didn't
I mean,
get in
you
enough
consider him
last year.
you consider him a rookie the same way that the NBA considered Ben Simmons a rookie when he won
Right.
Rookie
Now,
of the
I'm
Year.
not saying I think he should
Terrible.
win Rookie of the Year. I'm not saying that I think he still should be in the running. I'm just saying he hadn't had enough experience.
He's still young,
For
yeah.
me to give you a 2-year guy because you really didn't play a lot
Fair.
last year.
That's fair. And that's where I see, where we going with this is it's just a matter of time before we get back to some of those throwing quarterbacks. And really, they never left. Let's be real. They
Right.
never left.
And they never should have.
But there's going to be a certain point when people start looking at it and they're like, man, like Justin Fields, in my mind, the best thing he can do is learn behind a veteran like Dalton. Learn how to get that quick release going. Learn how to, break down defenses, because nobody's saying that Dalton's the smartest guy in the quarterback room. But at the end of the day, he does have the experience.
Right.
Let that man teach. He was willing to teach Burrow. The Bengals was just retarded.
Right. And that's
So-
why they say that's why they say, especially not to switch sports, but the quarterback position is equivalent to the point guard position in basketball. And they say the point guard that is not the most athletic is always going to make your best coach, because he has to study the fundamentals and be better at the basics than the guy that is athletic, so he can even out his ability. And I feel like Dalton is that. Dalton is the not unathletic in basketball is different in football. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily just mean unathletic. I just mean like he has to study his reads. He has to make sure he's getting the ball out on time in the pocket that he wants to get it in to look good. And that's exactly what somebody like Justin Fields needs to learn, because you can't just operate off of your athletics and expect to get far in this league.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I'll even say that I was wrong, because I said I think, in hindsight's 2020, boy, because it doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth now that I'm saying it. But when they were saying back before they got rid of Cam, and there was the potential that they did, I said go over there and put him with the Bears and have him work with Justin. And I was thinking more along the lines of teaching him why not to run, why to, you know what I mean? Because he's the perfect person to listen to as far as focus on your mechanics, because running gets you me.
Well, I'll tell you who else would be a perfect. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but last time I checked, Lamar Jackson changed his game a lot once he got RG3 behind him. There was a lot that. He changed his game a lot once the Baltimore Ravens took RG3 and said, hey, listen, we don't plan on playing you for real.
That's a very interesting take.
But we need you to teach him not to be you.
Right.
Like, and it wasn't even like to me, that's not a shot at an RG3.
No,
because
not at all.
The Baltimore Ravens are nowhere near as bad as Washington was. And a lot of the RG3 situation comes down to the coaching. Right. So there's a certain point where you got to remember, like, people forget RG3 didn't make the decision to go back in. It was the coaches that said, hey, go play. That put him when he wasn't fully recovered already from the knee.
Right.
So you want to be honest, I don't even know how that coach still has a job. But who am I?
Right. Go ahead and put your resume back out there for Washington, too.
Hey, Washington.
Right.
Looking for a job.
Listen, I ain't mad at you, G. I ain't mad at you. But yeah, no, that is interesting. And the fact that they're built similar.
Yes.
They're built
and
similarly.
They're built very similar. And that's why, for me, it was critical to get a guy like an RG3 to work with. And that's, as if you want to be honest, there's a certain point where you look at Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. Are they really that much different? Look at Andy Dalton. Look at Andy Dalton's college career.
Is that a riddle?
At TCU. No, I'm serious. Are they really that much different?
Well, if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't know enough about Andy Dalton's college career to be able to, make a correlation.
Andy Dalton at TCU ran an option offense, but he had a cannon, kind of like Lamar had in Louisville. If you watch those two in college, that's kind of how that works. Now, Ohio State allowed Fields to throw the ball sometimes. And sometimes out of the other, sometimes it looked good.
Right. Sometimes out of the other, sometimes it looked good.
So there's a certain point where nobody's doubting can Fields throw the ball.
Right.
What they're doubting is when it came to the draft, you had that film that was telling these coaches and these GMs, hey, this guy got tunnel vision. He is pure tunnel vision. So he stares down his primary receiver, and that's it. So there's a certain point where can Dalton be a guy who helps you break down defenses? Because he did do that in the Big 12. So he ran out of an option, the RPO system. What is the NFL moving to?
I don't know if it's moving to that as a whole.
For the most part, the Bears are.
The Bears are. Philly.
The Bears are. Bengals.
Are they?
Since he's definitely in an RPO. Zach Taylor loves the RPO.
Okay.
It doesn't work because the RPO requires you to get rid of the ball quickly, and Joe Burrow does not.
Or make the decision on the play. Right?
Yes. So you have to read it quickly, get rid of it quickly, make the decision quickly, and Burrow does not do that. Burrow needs a little bit of patience because he's used to an all-star offensive line in front of him in college.
Right.
So, and nothing but weapons around him. Now, we got weapons, we don't have the line. So the RPO works.
Listen,
if you know it. You know what I mean?
Zach Wilson got that introduction this week, too.
Man, facts.
I was looking like, now you see what the fuck Sam was going through. You know what I'm saying? You see why
it's
Sam
just a matter of time before he starts seeing ghosts, too.
This shit out. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's, like, you know, going to that, you got a lot of these younger guys. You got Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people are looking at him like, maybe y'all shouldn't have got rid of Minshew so quick.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, I get it. He's your first overall pick, and you selling out on a first overall pick, right? It's your first overall pick.
You gotta give it to the first,
but you still should keep that backup.
Right, and Minshew's not a bad backup to have. He's gonna be a backup 9 times out of 10 anywhere he's going.
Hey, Jacksonville. Because when Urban Meyer don't work out. You seen the comments that were made recently, didn't you?
That he was thinking about going back to
that's always a thing. But he always thinking about going somewhere. That's a real thing. That's always a real thing.
Didn't somebody send him an offer?
Probably. Another college team probably sent him an offer. I know Bieniemy got one from USC.
Did he?
Bieniemy got one from USC.
That's what's up.
But they there's a certain point where who was it? Draymond Jones recently said Urban Meyer's coaching style won't work. Like, these is grown men. This isn't college no more. Right. These are grown men with contracts.
Right.
Most of them bigger than yours. They don't give a fuck about you.
Right.
So you just the coach, and you're not even a proven one at that.
Right.
If you was Bill Belly, maybe.
I get it, man.
Maybe. But you look. We all remember what Zeke said when he blamed the coaching in that Michigan State game a few years ago. You remember it? You all remember when he dogged the coaches and threw them under the bus when they lost to Michigan State because he didn't get enough touches?
Oh, right.
So there's a certain point where we know you can't.
I guess that is what that is, huh?
Yo, he threw them straight under the bus. Right. It's, yeah.
You saying that at all is.
Yeah.
Right. And
there's a certain point where right after that, he leaves that following year. You know what I mean? Like, there's not, for me, you dealing with grown men now. These is not college kids that you just going to be able to talk to any kind of way.
Right.
And that's what Draymond Jones was basically saying. His coaching style is not built for the NFL. We saw Nick Saban in the NFL. It didn't work.
Right.
Some guys just don't work in the NFL. And because it's a different style, it's a different kind of guys. Like, these are grown-ass men now. So 41-20, final for the Ohio State game, by the way.
41-20, so they
congratulations. No, they did not. 24.5 was the spread.
Oh, 24.5. I thought you said 21.
No, sir. No, sir.
That's fucking crazy, Ohio State. Y'all need to do fucking better.
And it was a pick six. It was a pick six in the fourth quarter. Pick six in the fourth quarter where one of the DBs jumped the route on a beautiful, beautiful thing that put him up to the 41.
All right.
Other than that, Tulsa was driving. But there's a certain point where you see guys.
Pick 6 is a good sign, though.
Pick 6 is a good sign, but it's Tulsa.
But you ended. It don't matter. We've been talking about your defense even in the Tulsa game, and you ended it on a high note. So at least you can sleep a little sounder this evening.
Yes. If you put money up, though, I'm sorry for your loss. So, look, my gambling advice is simple. If you betting on Ohio State, you betting your money away. Just don't do it. Oh, I'm sorry. They must have took a touchdown away from Florida. It's only 23-31. Something must have happened. Shit. No, it's 29-31 final score. Bama won.
Okay. Speaking of Bama.
Yeah.
Well, two things. Not to segue, but that damn Vitor Belfort Evander Holyfield fight. Did you see that?
No, I did not. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to watch anything Evander Holyfield except old school highlights.
Well, it was supposed to be Vitor Belfort, Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya caught COVID, so Evander Holyfield's old ass stepped in and got knocked out in the first round.
But was it a UFC style fight?
No,
or was
boxing.
It was boxing? Okay.
He was just too old. That's all it came down to. He was too old.
Because it seems like a lot of people are starting to get to the point where they are trying to cross over, if you will,
right,
to another action
people
sport.
Are trying to what's the word I'm looking for?
Expand their...
No, I'm thinking more so about boxing. Like they're trying to make they're trying to recreationalize boxing to where anyone can do it, and now you can be a YouTuber or a movie star, Chris Hemsworth, and
is he doing a fight?
Well, he hadn't announced the fight, but he's been training.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He doesn't look bad.
He should have stuck to playing Thor.
He doesn't look bad, I will be honest. He doesn't look bad at all. But as everybody knows, boxing's not something you can just pick up over the course of a year.
Yeah,
you gotta be doing
Nate Robinson found that out.
Right. And, well, he didn't. He picked it up over the course of weeks and didn't even spar. That motherfucker didn't even know what a glove felt like till Jake put one up against his head. What kind of shit is that? He should be ashamed of himself. But I brought up Vitor Belfort because his son, Davy Belfort, is 16 in high school. He's already a commit to Alabama.
For football, or?
Yeah, he signed with Alabama. He's a quarterback. He's a nice size at 16 too. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11", and you know how Vitor Belfort wasn't a little guy.
He was a big dude. Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be too tall, his son, but I think he'll be a nice size. You know, if he's an undersized quarterback, he might still be a nice size.
I want to know if where do we? All right, so we in the NIL era now, right? In college.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know in the NIL, right? What the hell is it that's gonna make top quarterbacks go to certain schools? I really want to know that. Like, we all know that Alabama, with the exception of Mac Jones and how he's looking early in this season, and Ohio State, they don't produce quarterbacks. How do they keep managing to get quarterbacks to fuck up?
Wait. I'm sorry. Repeat your question again.
So how do these schools that do not produce quarterbacks very well keep managing to get, like, what is it about these schools that said that quarterbacks like, you know what I want to do? I really want to go there.
I can answer your question. And what I think that you're going to see the rise of now, especially with all the, the different colleges offering contracts to kids and shit, is you're going to see kids come out of high school with business managers, and the business manager is going to tell them to go to an Ohio State as opposed to an Alabama, even though Ohio State doesn't develop quarterbacks, because Ohio State may not pay you as much as Bama, and they may not give you a big contract, but the exposure you will have there is outrageous. You're going to see a lot of kids bypass the money for a place where they're like, nah, fuck that. They can have that contract. I want to play here because this is going to get me seen, and that'll get me a better spot in the league. I think the big contract kids are going to end up taking a hit to where they don't go as high in the draft as the kids that are coming out of spots that, can't really ship out the dollars for you like that.
Well, let's be honest. When's the last time we've seen a top 5 pick get a big contract in the NFL?
What's the name?
Josh Allen. That's about the only one I could think of for real, for real.
A top 5 wasn't Matt Stafford?
Man, you reaching way back then?
Well, you said recently, I guess.
No, I'm just saying, when's the last time? But other than Josh Allen, that we've seen a top 5, and quarterbacks go top 5 every year, at least one.
Right.
Every year. So when's the last time before Josh Allen that a quarterback that was picked in the top 5 actually got a big contract? Baker's is coming. Don't get me wrong. Baker's is coming.
Oh, I'm tripping. I equated that question completely different.
Where did you?
I was going with like the contract coming into the league, like what you signed on with.
No, there's no control over that.
Right. Yeah, that's.
I'm talking about once they get their extension.
Right. Okay. Now I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah. Like once rookie deal is done, how many of them get big extensions?
Right. I am following.
That were top 5 picks. A lot of people are going to go to Dak Prescott, not a top 5. Wasn't even first round.
Yeah, that's.
So
you just did the calculation that happened in my mind. I was thinking Dak wasn't top 5.
Dak was what, 4th round? I think fourth round.
Dak was the one. He did that interview about why he had a chip on his shoulder because nobody.
Right.
Fuck. That is a good question.
We see quarterbacks go in the top 5 year in and year out. Baker's going to get his.
Who else is up for one right now?
Should he is a different argument, but he will get his.
Don't hate.
I'm not hating.
Don't hate.
I'm not hating. I have my reasoning, sir.
That's a good question. No name is just popping into my mind.
It's because it doesn't really happen. So I'll take the guys. If I'm a quarterback, I don't care if I get drafted in the top 5. Fuck that. We just had, 3 go in the top 5? 1, 2, and 3? Trevor, Zach, and Trey Lance, right?
Yeah.
You think all 3 of them going to get big contracts? Not likely. Not likely.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
You think all 3 of them?
I think Zach's set for one because that's what New York does. They chew up quarterbacks and spit them back out, and other teams be like, nah, he's still got something left. I'll take him.
But they don't get big contracts.
Not big ones, yeah. I guess that wouldn't be a big one.
Because look what they just did to Darnold.
Step up from the Jets, though.
Anything's a step up from the Jets.
Well,
you could give me $2,000 less to go play for another team, and it's a step up from the Jets.
Well, you know them contracts, 2,000 ain't shit. That's That's like taking $20 out of.
I'm thinking of a regular man, common man shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm not thinking NFL. You could. I'll take.
You take 2,000 out of my check, I might owe your motherfucking ass. So.
Look. That's a real thing.
Fuck. But now I understand what you're saying though.
But that's where I'm like, if you look at it, nobody's getting drafted high and getting contracts.
Right.
It's always the guys. Look, Carson Wentz got a big ass contract. That motherfucker came from North Dakota State. So you know what that means? Out of this draft class, the only person getting a big contract might be Trey Lance. The big name schools don't produce the great quarterbacks typically. These motherfuckers be coming out of nowhere.
Or it's a situation like Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence where you're a top 5 quarterback, but because you are, it's to your detriment because you're going to a spot like New York or Jacksonville. And now it's going to fuck up my stats because...
Don't forget, Jacksonville was just running the AFC South a few years ago.
They were. But
so
they got a new coach. They got... It's a whole new attitude over there in Jacksonville.
Well, and I'm not going to lie to you. As long as Urban Meyer is there, this is my prediction. As long as Urban Meyer is there, Trevor Lawrence will never succeed.
Ooh. But he can without him, you think, in Jacksonville?
I think, yes.
Okay.
I don't think Urban Meyer is an NFL coach. I just don't. I mean, you can't tell me that they don't have nothing out there. They got one of the best running backs in the league, especially for a young kid. James Robinson is nasty. But we know how this goes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and yeah, Washington won that game against the Giants, too. Malk,
just the other night.
You owe everybody.
Malk, I do, or Malk does?
Malk made $5 bets with everybody that.
Hey, look, nobody can count on. Look,
Washington.
Speaking of a guy who's coming out as a really good quarterback, Taylor fucking Heineke.
Yeah, I like Heineke.
Taylor Heineke brought that. Heineke. He brought it to that game, man.
I like him. I didn't really watch it. I didn't
watch it either. All you gotta do is look at the box score.
I didn't even watch the highlights.
I did watch the highlights.
I didn't watch the highlights.
But the box score alone, dude had over 300 yards. You know how many quarterbacks in the NFL right now are getting above 300 yards?
It's a few.
Not the new ones.
Hurts didn't he?
I don't know. He got me 24 fantasy points this past week.
I think he did throw for over 300 last week.
I could double check for you real quick, but I don't know. The validity of that.
264.
Oh, okay.
264.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 264. I knew it was close. It was around there. I was thinking 364 is why I said over, and then.
I mean, I understand that. I get that.
But I'd have thought that's a little crazy.
So what do you think? Since we're on NFL now.
Mm-hmm.
So did you watch the Browns game last week?
Your Browns and your Chiefs.
Yeah, where the Browns did what the Browns typically do and do what I call hashtag Brownsing.
Blew the 20. What was it? A 21-10 lead, I think, or 22-10 because they went for two in the first. I thought that was pretty aggressive. I like that too. Went for two on the first drive, first touchdown. I said, you trying to be aggressive out here. I like that.
It ain't about trying to be aggressive. They was trying to assert some dominance.
Right. You try to set
You gotta like to see it.
You try to set it.
You like to see it. You want to try and deflate them before they actually get started.
Like, y'all the Chiefs, go for two.
Right. So the Browns got hit with a fine.
For what?
The dude Harrison shoved one of the coaches for the Chiefs.
Really?
Did you see? You ain't see this? Oh, so let me explain to that. So I'm in 100%.
I don't mean to cut you off, but for anybody listening, if I am watching a game that does not come on at 12-2, chances are I fell asleep at some point throughout that motherfucker. That's a fact, Jack.
This is this dude got hit with a fine, $12,000, and right now so the Cleveland coach, which I am in 100% agreement with the Cleveland coach on this. That Kansas City coach should have been hit with a fine as well. But I haven't seen anything about the Kansas City coach being hit with a fine.
What happened?
The Kansas City coach shoved him first.
Oh, for real?
So it was really just a response, but the rest, you know how it is in the NFL? They don't see the first one. They always see the response.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a certain point where I don't disagree, but y'all got people in New York coming down with these fines. They should have been able to see that and look hey, wait a minute, we need to hit him too.
Right. Well, let's be 100 because this isn't a penalty flag on a play. You can look at the film and pull back my damn fine. So if you're not going to pull back my fine, I'm not paying it unless he pays one too.
Right, exactly. So there's a certain point where that's where you get a lot of, like, are we going to start? Now, we haven't seen this in a while where a player is pushing a coach, you know what I mean? Or a coach is pushing a player or anything like that. Right. We haven't seen anything crazy like that, especially not in the NFL, right? These guys typically have a higher standard. Let's be real. If I'm a coach in the NFL, the last thing I'm doing is pushing one of these big ass 200+ pound dudes, all muscle.
Right.
Like, I'm a skinny dude. Like, I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'm not setting myself up for that failure.
I pick you up by my hand and by your beard.
Right.
What the fuck you do to me?
I'll just be sitting there like, I didn't mean it. So there's a certain point where if you don't come down with a fine for this coach, do we start seeing more of this shit?
It's almost like how the crowd always does shit to Russell, and he'd be like get him under control type shit.
Yeah.
And now they feel more willing to do it because you ain't never, now they spitting
You
on
never
Trae
nipped it in the
Young
bud.
and shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You never nipped it in the bud. This is for me, it's one thing for the fans, right? We get the fans, and I understand that, and they should have some freedoms. They pay a lot of money to get those seats, blah blah blah. Now, is it their fault that most of the time they get snapped at, and the Pacers ended up going into the stands on some shit? Maybe.
Yeah, that's their fault. Everybody who took L's that night deserved them L's.
With the coaches. For me, these coaches should be held to the same standard as the players.
I agree, but the NFL is it's a slave drive mentality anyway.
Most sports is.
Well, NBA is not so much because it's more player led. You know what I mean? NFL, they will not allow their players to have that much control.
There's a certain point. I'm not gonna lie to you. They do. The players are just retarded, and I don't know if it's CTE or whatever you want to look. So, for example, me and my boy was talking about this too. Yeah. He said, CTE is a real thing. I said, why you say that? He said, because the NBA PA said,
we was just talking about that last episode.
We're not doing that's a non-starter. The vaccines is a non-starter. We're not even, no. Mandatory vaccines, hell no.
Right.
What the NFLPA do? Let's get rid of testing. Not the fucking mandatory vaccinations. No, let's get rid of the weed testing. Y'all motherfuckers' priorities is terrible. Terrible.
They did
that, y'all was more worried about weed than getting the vaccine.
But yeah, they didn't see that devil right in front of them, man.
You feel me? Like,
yeah, they didn't see that.
At a certain point.
I mean, you know what? That brings up an interesting question. Did the NFL Player Association drive Richard Sherman crazy to where he was beating on his girl's door?
Possibly.
You know what I mean? Like, honestly, though, because, like, they said it in the story, they were exes. They weren't really in that much of communication. So he was stressed out about something. He was trying to, they said he was trying to kill himself type shit. Something went on.
I mean,
and
I can see that. I could see that.
This whole vaccine situation is a lot deeper than it looks on the surface. So I can only imagine being the guy as the president of the Player Association dealing with the devils that's trying to make shit happen, and the players that are like, bro, are you saying what you're supposed to be saying? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And this dude wants weed, and this dude wants to make sure he doesn't have to get vaxxed, and now you like, God damn, like, y'all are driving me crazy. I'm about to kick my girlfriend's door in.
I'm trying to go fuck her up.
Right? She was my punching bag back then. No, I'm just playing. I was only kidding.
But there's a certain point where this is it's almost like we already talked about the new era of the quarterbacks. Like, are we just coming into a new era of the NFL in general? That motherfuckers is more worried about weed than vaccines? Like, where do we get to the point where we're like, hey, listen.
Well, let's think about it. Let's break this down a bit. Vaccine, I'm not vaxxed. I get caught with COVID. I sit out 10 to 14 days until I come back with 2 negative tests.
Isn't that the standard even if you are vaxxed?
Well, no, if you're vaxxed, you just have to have 2 negative tests. You don't have to do I don't think you have to do the quarantine.
What's going on with the Saints? Because the Saints have 2 assistants out.
Are they vaxxed? It's probably because they haven't gotten 2 negative tests yet.
Because they won't be in the game tomorrow.
Did I write it down? I might have wrote it down in my other book. Because I did write down the stipulations, and I think it's a longer wait if you're not vaxxed as opposed to if you are.
So the coaches were ruled out after testing positive for COVID-19 earlier in the week. Wide receivers coach Curtis Johnson, tight ends coach Dan Rashar. There's a bunch of them. They were out they were announced out on Friday. Peyton said earlier in the week that all coaches were vaccinated so they can return to work once they have 2 negative tests 24 hours apart.
Right. So they don't have to quarantine if you're vaxxed. You just have to get those 2 negative tests. If you're unvaccinated, you still have to quarantine and then get 2 negative tests before you can come back.
See, that don't make no sense to me, because if you vaccinated, right? Why do I still need 2 negative tests?
Because,
like, for example,
it's
one of my
very clear
kids,
you can still catch it whether you're vaccinated or not, and if they're catching it, you're out regardless. Because
but that's
if
what I'm
you have
saying.
COVID, you can't practice, lift weights, attend field study,
whether you're vaccinated or not.
Right.
So what's the that's where I guess what's the difference
is me being vaccinated
between the unvaccinated players and the vaccinated players?
Well, me being vaccinated could possibly save me my pay. You got to think, if I'm vaccinated and I find out I caught COVID on Monday and I turn in 2 negative tests by Wednesday, I'm back.
But I thought everybody had to be vaccinated. I thought that was the rule in the NFL.
No, it's not a mandatory. If you're not vaccinated, you get fined for the COVID.
So if you're not vaccinated, you get COVID.
You get fined.
Right.
You
get fined.
You get fined. You sit
out,
and you got to give the 2 negative tests. But yeah, like I was saying, if you're vaccinated and I give you 2 negative tests by Wednesday, I'm still practicing by Thursday, in that game by Sunday. If I'm unvaccinated and I catch COVID on Monday, I'm guaranteed out until next Wednesday and still have to turn in 2 negative. So I missed out on Sunday's pay, and I still got to get y'all 2 negative COVID tests before I can come back.
So that's where I say, what's the difference? For example, if you have a player unvaccinated and a player that's vaccinated, both test positive for COVID, both of them still have to do the 2 tests. If both of those tests come back negative, why would you still have to quarantine? That doesn't make sense to me. This is what the NFLPA should have been doing and looking at.
Right, but yeah, that's the rule. That is the rule. I don't know why, but you are
correct.
Stupid. That is what they should. But like you said, when you got one, and you don't know how big of a group of niggas that was talking about smoking weed was, they probably like, we don't give a fuck about COVID, nigga. Make sure I got it. They about to drug test me, Rich. They about to drug test me. Pass the weed shit now. We'll deal with COVID later.
We can look at COVID next year.
And then Rich had an envelope on his desk with a couple of bills in it. He was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? The white man pulling me this way. My players want me to weed. I don't know what to do. I'ma kick a door in. Who?"
I need to hit something.
Right. That's what happened.
So that's where I'm. Are we looking at the NFL like y'all's priorities just might be fucked up? Like, and is it a cause of CTE? Is this a thing? Like, there's got to be a point where okay, CTE is real, because these motherfuckers was more worried about weed than the unfair vaccine rules.
You know what though, and I understand that. Okay, let me say a few things.
And let me rephrase. Not that they actually changed their stance on weed, they're just not testing anymore.
Right.
So,
but why should you though? You know what I mean? Like, why should you? Out of all the things that you should be testing for, performance enhancements, what's the one shit I'm thinking of?
Steroids?
No, that falls in performance enhancements.
Yeah, you're right.
Something else. Damn, I can't think. But aside from that, narcotics. You know what I mean? Like, narcotics. Like, and then weed is on your list. Like, and then you got to understand that weed is the number one thing that people get popped for because it stays in your system the longest.
Yes.
And there's no enhance or detriment either way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hurting the player by doing it, and it's not helping the player by doing it.
It depends on who you ask.
It's like, no.
For example, I saw what was his name? Some bitch. Santonio Holmes with weed compared to without weed. Without weed, Santonio Holmes didn't make it very long. With weed, Santonio Holmes got the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you mean like on in the game type shit?
Yeah, like for me, to me,
I wasn't even really thinking in game. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of people that probably do smoke before a game because it focuses them and cools their anxieties. Like, so I guess in that sense it may be a performance enhancement. But let's be honest, that all depends on what strain you got, because it might ramp that anxiety up and you'd be like, oh shit. Why did I smoke and what am I into? I'm guarding motherfucking Antonio Brown and he's cooking my ass and I'm in my high ass head right now. So
you're not wrong.
You're rolling the dice. It's a rolling
you
the
are.
dice, G.
But at the same time, that's where I'm kind of so like pretty much throughout all sports, smoking in general. I mean, like we watched fucking Jay Cutler light up a cigarette on the field and get fined for it. Like it was. There's a certain point where
Ricardo Mayorga used to smoke a cigarette walking out to a fight. Before the fight, walking out with a cigarette and put it out and fight and light one back up after he won.
Right, and that's where we've seen where people have been trying to get the issue. Like for example, you know, I coach Little League, right? I don't smoke in front of the kids.
Right.
Or I try not to.
Right.
I like most of the time, if a kid happens to stay late because his parents decided he didn't want to pick him up, and I drive the wife's car to work and she hate when I smoke in there. Look, if you ain't pick your kid up, that's on you. My time was from 6 to 8.
In this car.
So my time was from 6 to 8. So at 8 o'clock, we done. I'm no longer Coach Jay. Cool, bet. So I'm gonna smoke this cigarette, and if you just happen to be picking your kid up and you don't like it, that's on you. You should have been here on time.
At the same time, you gotta understand that, bro. I'm a coach. I'm a coach.
Yeah.
My strapping on pads days are over. That's why I'm smoking. Trust and
still do some stuff every now and then. You know.
Trust and believe. If you knew that you relied on your athletics, you wouldn't be smoking cigarettes.
Facts.
But we don't we may go out there and do some rec, but if beyond that, it's not. So why would I stop if I'm not doing it for something?
That's where I've always been confused. Like for the guys who was it that retired some years ago? He was a Cowboy that said he wasn't going to come back to the NFL until they changed their stance on weed. He was a DB, I believe. But whoever it was, like, why you really willing to throw away millions of dollars a year?
Was it a DB or was it a defensive lineman?
It might have been Hardy. Wasn't it Greg Hardy?
It could have been Hardy. Or
you might be right. It might have been a lineman. Because Greg Hardy was a defensive end, wasn't he? Yeah. So, but either way, why would you be willing to throw away millions of dollars a year, and all you have to do is put the blunt down for 3-4 months?
At that point, that's an addiction. At that point,
you're not wrong.
Addiction. Like, don't get me wrong. I may smoke every now and again for the, you know? But if my money is on the line, and I ain't talking about no little $15 an hour. I'm talking about my money, like some money's on the line.
I'm getting bread.
Man,
like,
stop, man. You ain't about to play.
I could buy out the dope boy. Stop playing with me.
You ain't about to play my money like that. and think about it. If I can play for 2 years and buy all the weed I want for the rest of my life.
Facts.
So why?
That's why I don't understand.
Why would I blow it right now?
Right. Especially when you can do it in all. It was like the whole Sha'Carri Richardson thing, right? Like you about to go into the Olympics. She was
scared. That was a case.
But that's where I'm saying, like, you just take a second, breathe, and let it go for a second. You think she did it on purpose?
Yes, that was self-sabotage. And I said it on the podcast over and over again. And a lot of times people don't understand is that we as human beings find a way to self-sabotage ourselves if we think that the lights are too bright.
And do you think she's never come back the same because of it?
No, I don't think that she hasn't come back the same. I think that the last race was a little, like, I think it was a 0.4 off of her normal time. But
yeah, but she was dead last. She finished last. She got dusted.
Because it was a 0.4 off of her normal time. But let's understand that her best time would still get her 4th place in the Olympics.
No doubt.
The best time she ran in her life would have still got her not a medal in the Olympics. So once you get into a point where it's like, these lights are bright, I see how fast these Jamaicans are running, I don't want to be exposed for a fraud, so let me just take myself out of the situation entirely.
But that's what I'm saying, like, she just had a race at the end of August.
And I don't mean to say like exposed for a fraud, like she's a fraud. I'm just saying, thinking from someone that's been in a situation like that,
where the bright lights are now on. You
start to get that imposter syndrome where it's like, am I really this good? Like, should I really be here right now? Like, I don't know.
Right.
And I think that's what it was. And she was just like, well, let me take myself out of the situation so I don't have to deal with it at the moment, and I'll smoke.
If Miss Richardson was really thinking that, I'm here to tell you, yes, you did belong.
Oh, of course.
So
she still does.
She still does. So, and that's why I say, because she still races to this day, right? She was not banned from track and field. Like, there was her and Moulahan were both busted for similar things. Hers was weed. Moulahan was busted for steroids.
Who's Moulahan?
Moulahan, I believe her name was Shelby Moulahan. Nah, she's a middle distance track runner.
Okay, no,
they were busted for around the same time. It was in July that Houlihan was busted for steroids, but because it was steroids, like, I only know about this because social media tried to make it a whole thing, a black versus white thing, and I'm like, no, you guys are stupid. Just look into the situation. Houlihan is banned from track and field across the world for 4 years.
Right.
4 years.
Right.
She's banned because it's steroids. They don't take nothing more serious than you doping with steroids.
Right.
Period. Right. If you don't believe me, ask Russia. So there's a certain point where
didn't they let Russia compete this year?
Not the people who were in the they had the Russian Olympic Committee, but it was a different. There were people who were not testing positive and should not have been affected, and therefore were allowed to compete in the Olympics. But all of the people who did test positive for shit,
put that that threat,
no, it was the Olympics. The Olympics knew you couldn't leave a Russia out.
But no, immediately, that's what I was about to say. Immediately, it was Russia as a whole is out. They're out.
Yes.
For how long was it?
But then some of the players protested. They were supposed to be gone for like two different Olympics.
Right.
Because they got busted after the Rio shit. Was it Rio? The last one. It was Rio. So they were busted after the Rio shit. But then
the Zika Olympics.
The Zika Olympics. But there was a certain point where all of those players that didn't, they kind of protested like, hey, we didn't test positive. It's not fair to ban us.
Right.
So they banned the country of Russia and then gave the Olympic Committee some power to enable some of those people from Russia, but Russia still wasn't going to win any medals technically. But they did.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So there was a ban against Russia, but the Russian Olympic Committee was sent by the Olympic Committee itself to basically select people who were not doping.
Right.
So it was one of those things. I was like, we didn't do anything. Like, we should still be able to be here. So they were like, you know what? You're right. Let's not punish all for the actions of a few.
Vladimir sent that threat ask letter.
You know, Vladimir don't give no fucks about the Olympics.
This is not a question. Russia 2021. That's all the letter said. This is not a question. Russia 2021, and it had the Olympic circles on it, and they was like, guess we got to reinstate them.
Right. But that's where you get to a point where you see what the Olympics means to a lot of different countries too. And a lot of different people from those different countries.
That has to be devastating to be for
Yeah.
a lot of people work their whole life just to do that, and then
Literally
for
their
one
whole
person
life.
to make a mistake, and not even
Mm-hmm.
for in one specific, well, not one event, because they were doing it in a lot of events.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, in that documentary. What's that documentary?
The one they did about the Olympic bust.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it's called.
Damn, I can't think of it either. But yeah, no, it's not like they just did it in. But if that didn't come into your sport at all, like that was over there. That ain't have nothing to do with my ass. I'm diving or I'm swimming
Right.
800.
And that's pretty much what it was like, why are we affected by this? Like, I didn't benefit from what they did.
Right.
So like, and check me every day.
That's
you know what I mean? So there's a certain point where we all know the Olympics. People are like, oh, the Olympics is too hard on weed. Nah, they way harder on steroids. I don't
want to not face the best anyway. I don't want to not face the best. I don't want
but
you
that's
to take
where,
Russia out just because they got caught. Nah, bring their motherfucking asses back.
Right.
Just make sure you check them. But I don't want to not face somebody because I don't want to give me win. Don't give me shit.
But at the same time, you face the best and somebody who's been. So we had an issue this past year with Simone Biles, right? She dropped out of an event because she felt like she was being judged unfairly, which I'm not inclined to disagree. Like, but at the same time, that kind of goes to your argument. Like, I want you to score everyone the same way that you would. Don't score her different because she's Simone Biles.
Well, was it? I mean, I heard it was.
They were basically scoring. Things. They were basically scoring Simone Biles against Simone Biles.
Right.
Instead of against the other people who were there.
Right.
And that wasn't fair to Simone because she's still killing everybody else.
Right.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think she took third on the balance beam, but she was so stressed out at that point. Like,
and she said she had the spins.
Yeah.
Where she couldn't tell where she was in the air when she was doing her tumbles and shit. But we did an episode way back when it happened. I think that it was just stress in general.
It might have been.
Because you got to think, like, when you're that good, it's the same thing as the Russia situation. When you're that good and you're Simone Biles and you see that, you know, you got 7 golds and however many other medals, and you're looking at these young girls that train so hard to be in the Olympics that don't get a shot because you're there.
Right.
And that weighs on you, like, this girl may not ever make it back and I already got everything I got, but I should keep performing to all that affects you. And if your gears aren't turning at optimum level in an event like that, it's probably best for you to sit the fuck out.
Yeah,
especially
and
when
I'm not inclined to
Biles, because one of those tricks go wrong, and I'm pretty sure you're coming.
That's your life.
It's not just a broken leg at that point.
Right, and that's where I mean, if we honest, it's Simone Biles, right? What you ain't got nothing left to prove, baby girl. You got it. Like you might be the greatest Olympian we've ever seen.
Yeah, there's not gonna be another one coming by, but that does shit like that for at least another 15, 20.
At all. And not even close.
We're supposed to be beat, you know what I mean? Like, our best is supposed to be beaten by the next generation, but I think that's like a LeBron Jordan situation where you're not going to see somebody like that for at least another 20.
Right. And that's where you get to a point where, like I said, baby girl, you got it. Pack it up. You got nothing left to prove.
But that's what she said. She wanted to start her family, so she said she was probably going to be done with it all after this.
Good. I'm in full support, and anybody who wants to dog her, come see me.
I think she should do it now while she's still young, and then snap back.
And that's exactly what
so she can be like, yeah, I really am that shit.
You know what I would really like to see? Her to start coaching this shit.
That would be nice.
If she was able to start teaching it, because we all know.
Good, though. That might.
Well, I was gonna say, me and you we've had the conversation on here where we're like, some great players don't always make great coaches.
Like, she has ability everybody else doesn't have, and if she's like,
that's a fact.
Stick that, and they like, bitch, I can't stick it. You stuck
I'm
it.
Not
I can't stick it.
I'm not you.
Right. You get up on that balance beam. You stick it. I can't do that. Meanwhile, you got your TJ McConnell's like, I never was able to stick it. You did good, kid. Come on, let's go.
Right.
Those
and that's
good
where
coaches.
That you're not wrong. And that's where it's, I don't know. Like, I would like to see her do more that doesn't stress her.
Right.
Like, I want to see. I want nothing but the best for Simone.
Taking a break
at this
is
point,
not a big deal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get your mental all the way back. Come back in another 8 years. You'll be fine.
I say
like,
the same for Sha'Carri.
We ain't forgot about you.
Take a break. Now,
no, I ain't even worried about it. Come back next time.
Taking a break doesn't mean you stop your craft. That just means you stop competitively. You keep training. And you always train.
That's where I want to see Sha'Carri come back next time, because I want to see you there. Just don't do it to yourself again. Like, there's a certain point where
she needs a team around her.
Or if she does have a team, she needs a better one.
Yeah, she needs a team around. I don't think she does. I think she's just doing it. I think she needs a team around her.
Well, you know my motto. I'm looking for a job.
Right. Let's snap you into shape real quick, baby.
Listen, there's a certain point where, because I love doing the kids coaching thing, right? Like, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you could look at our record and you'd be like, damn, y'all suck. Maybe. But, I mean, 0-3, you know, it's ugly. It's ugly. But there's a certain point where you just got to have fun doing what you're doing at a certain point, too. Like,
I was going to try to give you some words of encouragement, but 0-3 is pretty ugly at the moment. I ain't going to.
I'm not going to. Well, here's the thing. Like, there's one thing that any coach knows: you can't teach heart.
Right.
You cannot teach. You can teach fundamentals. You can teach techniques. You can teach a whole bunch of stuff, but you cannot teach aggression. You cannot teach heart, especially in the game of football.
Right.
So my biggest problem is the offensive line has been a curse of mine for 3 years. And when kids don't want to block because the heart's not there, there's only so much my offense can do. Now my defense is good.
Well, I can explain that, and that's very easy to explain, because if you notice, offensive linemen, well, I'm not going to say all. Most offensive linemen don't take pride in their position until high school.
Facts.
That's
facts.
Because in middle school in Pop Warner, they consider that to be the position where it's like, oh, I wasn't good enough for DN or tight end or whatever it is I went out for.
But in the league we're in,
offensive line.
But in the league we're in, we got a striper rule. If you're familiar with the Columbus League, it's the X-Men rule. Yeah.
Too heavy.
So since I coach 5th and 6th graders, if you above $125, you can't carry the ball. You can't touch it unless you get an interception or a fumble.
Right.
But you can't line up in any skill position. You're not given that chance. Right. So this is what you got to do. And I get it. That sucks for a lot of these kids. But at the end of the day, it makes it a little bit more realistic when you get to the next level.
What you should do, or what I would do at least, is bring out a clipboard at your next practice of the top paid offensive linemen in the league and let them know what if you really work at this, like, don't take this position for granted, because this is what it pays out if you do it right.
I might have to do that, because me and you talked about how it was a couple episodes ago, we went on that little battle about offensive line not getting credit and recognition and stuff like that, because there's no stats. And you weren't wrong. There's no stats, but they do get paid.
They get paid. They get paid.
They get paid. So you may not get the pretty stats and stuff like that, but when you
get paid, the guards not so much.
The guard, you get the Zach Martins. You get the Zach Martins who get paid.
The good tackles always get the best money.
Yeah, because they're the ones who generally are protecting the quarterback more. The guards are opening up the holes for the running backs. So,
But yeah, I would do that. Bring it out on a clipboard and show them motherfuckers some.
And I might have to do comparisons, because some of them are like, oh, like I got one kid who's like, I want to be a fullback. Like, so y'all not like money? Because fullbacks definitely don't get paid.
Yeah, and they get the worst of the.
Man, they get asked to block, lead. They get asked to do all of that shit, but they do not get the money.
And you get it in on the 3-yard line. What you think's happening? A fucking quarterback sneak, and that fullback better push that quarterback's back. He ain't getting no love.
You get the dirty work. You are the Dennis Rodman of football.
I played fullback for a couple years in middle school.
See, that's what I want to start seeing is, once you start watching some of these pro guys, like, that's why I like college more than I like pro. I like the NCAA more than I like watching, like, even the NBA. Like, I'd rather watch guys who are playing this game that they love to play.
Fighting for it still.
and fighting still.
Right.
Once you get to the NFL and you get these contracts, then you turn into Ezekiel Elliott and you just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You turn into Todd Gurley and you disappear. Melvin Gordon, you disappear. Like, where do these guys?
Does Melvin Gordon, does he still have the NCAA record for the most rushing yards in a game?
In a game? I don't know if he ever had that.
Yeah, he did with Wisconsin.
Did he?
Yeah, it was like I don't think he broke 6. I think it was like 586 rushing yards or something like that.
So the top 10, Samaje Perine is number 1. It was Samaje Perine when he was at Oklahoma versus Kansas in 2014, 427 yards. Then there was Jarrett Peterson in Buffalo.
He got 500 something.
No, this is the record. Number 2 is Jarrett Peterson out of Buffalo, 409 yards versus Kent State last year. Melvin Gordon, Wisconsin, 408 yards versus Nebraska in 2014. And then LaDainian Tomlinson, TCU, 406 versus UTEP in 99.
I thought he broke 5.
No, I don't think anybody's ever broke 5. No, according to this, nobody's ever broke 5.
Then maybe I was confusing the 5 and the 6. Maybe it was 4 and 5, but still, I thought it was more than 40. What'd you say? 408.
408, and then there's only 2 people above him, which is a dude out of Buffalo doing it against Kent State.
I was watching that game too.
I do remember Samaje Perine's game where he did that back in 2014. I do remember that game.
Melvin Gordon's game. I remember exactly where I was at and everything. I was at work watching it on my phone.
Matter of fact, I think, let me double check this, but I think he broke Melvin Gordon broke the record, created the record, or set that record, and then it was like a week later, November 15th
For real?
was when Melvin did it, and then November 28th is when, or November 22nd is when Perine did it. It was literally the next week. The following week, Perine broke Melvin Gordon's record.
I remember.
He held that record for all of a week.
When I watched that game too, them was good times back then. For some reason, I don't know why.
You know why? Because it was an exciting era of sports. You know what I mean?
It wasn't even sports, just in life. It was just a good time.
You know what? I don't know what I want to know where this is headed.
No, it didn't have nothing to do with. Didn't have nothing to do with nothing like that. It was just a good time.
You got any kids around that age?
Nah, my daughter was already born. My daughter was already born.
So she was what, maybe 1, 2?
Nah, she was 2014. She was 4.
Okay. See, that was in between. I had my 8-year-old was born in 2013, and then 2015 I had my son. So
I only got one.
It was
2010, baby. One and done.
But that's where, I don't know, man. It gets.
I did want a boy though, but I don't think I want one anymore. You can have him, Lord. You deal with him. I want him.
I think where we are at with sports right now is, I think we're in a good place. We're seeing some things change hands. You know, you got everybody excited for the Lakers and LeBron James and what that's going to bring. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not too big on them right now.
I'm not sold on them. I mean, I do think it's a nice old head all-star team is what I call it.
Man, that's one of those 10 years too late teams.
Right. But I agree. I think there's a lot of changes going on in sports. I would like to see this old guard change in the NFL. Let's see some changes in
I mean, you gonna see it. It's coming. Oh yeah. Brady only got a couple years left. Roethlisberger got a couple years if that left.
I don't even really mean them so much as I mean
Goodell.
Not even Roger. I mean, you can't really do much with ownership, but it's some of these. I just would like to see some front office changes that open some things up.
Look, I'm a Bengals fan, so I'm 100% where you at right now.
Yeah, I would just like to see, because you can't do much with ownership, but I would like to see some front office changes, or maybe ownership making the front office changes and allowing them a bit more control. Because
Yeah, because I mean, like you got to think, the Bengals, they run their organization where everything's run through the owner. There is no
Right.
GM.
Right.
Like
a lot of teams
that was
do
one
it
of the
that way.
that was
Cowboys,
one of the big
Raiders.
problems. Yeah, but that was one of the big problems with with Marvin Lewis. Like everybody was like, oh, they need to get rid of Marvin Lewis. People forgot like Marvin Lewis only had control of the team for half of his time.
Right.
Like he fought for control of that team, and now we've relinquished control back to Mike Brown, and we see how that's working for us.
Right. Right.
Like our dumbasses took Jamar Chase instead of Rashawn Slater, who looks great for Detroit, by the way, or looks great for the Chargers, or taking what's his name, who looks great for Detroit right now. What the hell's his name? Dude who missed last year in college. The number he picked right after Jamar Chase. The lineman.
Penei Sewell? No.
Sewell.
Did they get Sewell?
Yeah, Sewell went to Detroit. Am I right about that? Wherever Sewell is, he's looking really good right now.
Down. It's in the other book though, because I remember we covered the draft, but
like, and those are who we should have. Yeah, he's with Detroit.
He is okay,
and he's looking great there. Like,
yeah, that would have been the smartest to do if you was Cincy.
Yeah,
just get that line right
and protect your, what you think you got in a future quarterback.
That's your investment, man. You gotta protect your investment. But listen, we get into 145. Let's get into some of these week 2 predictions.
I'll bet.
And then we'll wrap it up.
And you thought we couldn't go for 2 hours.
You said that too, motherfucker. I
did.
You was with me too. Where we at? I had it pulled up and okay, here we go.
The rest of our cohorts are going to be like, how the hell did y'all with 2 people?
Listen, we do that. What the fuck? Every time I pull it up, it gives me the first 3 games, and when I hit show me more, it goes to preseason. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so
I was going to say, I can pull it up if you need me to.
No, I got it. So we got Raiders Steelers. I actually got 5 on this game.
Why did you put 5? Who is it for? Who did you put 5 on? I need to know right now. You got like, is it a friendly bet with somebody, or is it a friendly bet?
5.
Okay, so it's not like a no. I'm saying like, is it I didn't know if it was like for the spread or
no.
If you was just going okay.
Up. Yeah, straight up for the win. Nah, I wouldn't bet with Vegas, and I wasn't betting no 500.
I'm just asking because what's the spread on that anyway?
I didn't even look it up. I don't only look it
6.
up if I'm betting.
Pittsburgh 6. Pittsburgh giving y'all 6.
Okay. Yeah, I only look it up if I'm betting like on one of them app joints. And since they don't have it legal here, I gotta send them out of town anyway. So
we don't know what you're talking about. You just don't bet, is what I'm hearing.
I say, bro, you was betting $50. Go ahead, bet 100 for me, and bring me back some if you win.
Right. So go ahead. What's your prediction on that?
I think the Raiders got it. I mean, it's a high scoring league, right? And I think I've made that mistake with my past few predictions, is assuming that it's still a defensive league, which we know it is not, which is why all of my predictions have been low. So for this game, Raiders Steelers, I got Raiders pulling it out by they'll pull it out by 11.
Woo! My God.
Yeah.
You are bold.
Yeah.
So listen.
21-32.
21-32.
21-31.
No, you said 11-32 would be right.
Yeah, no, but that would be a safety. We need a safety and a 2 point. We need to just get an even field goal.
Okay,
so 4 touchdowns and a field goal to 3 touchdowns.
I don't see y'all being as high power and explosive as the Buffalo Bills. and they held them only to 20, or they held them to 16. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to go Steelers here by about a touchdown.
Okay, you got
in a fairly low-scoring affair. I'll be surprised if anybody gets above 21.
Nobody over 21, and you said by a touchdown?
Yeah.
So what, you going 14-21 Steelers?
I'm thinking more like 14-20.
14-20? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me put you down for 14-20. And what I say? 31-21?
31-21. Oakland. Or Vegas, sorry.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Look, St. Louis is still St. Louis to me. I don't give a damn.
Listen. Okay, then we got the 49ers Eagles. That's easy.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sold on either one right now. I don't know how I'm feeling about that game. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm gonna say 24-18 49ers.
24-18 49ers. So you said fuck the spread.
Yeah.
You don't even give a damn about spreads, do you?
I'm not even looking them up. Nope, fuck all that spread shit.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. San Francisco did not have a very convincing win against a very, very bad Detroit team. I got to go Eagles on this one.
Ooh, that's interesting, and
I got to go Eagles.
That's good reasoning too.
Do you remember when y'all said I was crazy because the Eagles, I had them going against the Falcons and winning that first game?
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, go back and watch that because y'all definitely was talking about I was crazy. People talking about, I don't know if I see that. I don't think they're going to beat the Falcons.
Listen, Malcolm wasn't even sure if they was going to win.
32-6.
Didn't even want to put no money up on his squad.
32-6.
Yeah, they smoked
I called that.
They smoked them. So what's 49ers Eagles did?
Look, I'm not going to call the actual score, but I'm thinking it's going to be a solid touchdown at least. I might even go. I might even go as far as to say, because they're both pretty good offenses right now.
I'm gonna put no call in all caps next to your name.
Yeah, I'm just giving. I'm taking maybe Eagles by like a field goal.
No call, shame. I'll put Eagles by a field goal. Eagles by FG. All right, who we got next? Texans Browns. That's an easy one too.
Is it an easy one?
Yes, it is.
Who you got?
Who you got? High,
hold on, who you got?
It's an easy one. I'm going Browns. The Brownies.
You listen. Here's the thing.
Man, stop. Stop in your tracks. Stop right there in your tracks.
I don't see. Look, I got the Browns winning too, but it ain't gonna be as big a score as people think.
Well, I didn't say the score, my nigga. I just
well, go ahead. Hey, look, their spread is 13.5. They got Cleveland by 13.5.
I bet they get that.
I don't.
I bet Cleveland win by at least
1 point. 1 point.
1 point. Just 1 point. Not one touchdown. 1 point.
1 point.
1 point.
1 point.
I'm gonna just put 1 point.
Hey, my guy Tyrod Taylor looking for some revenge against Cleveland, bro, and he playing ball right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he playing ball right now.
I'm gonna just put Browns by 1 for you.
And I'm gonna be honest, Cleveland does not have the defense to deal with that kind of attack.
No, they don't. They don't.
That's why I'm keeping it close.
Although they didn't look bad last week, though. Their defense didn't look bad last week.
They ain't look good either.
No, but you're also playing Patty.
Patty.
You're playing
who
Patty
lost
McIntyre.
2 linemen.
You're still playing Patty McIntyre. He's gonna do
I get that. I'm just saying.
That would have been that's his name on his mama's side.
Tyrod Taylor looking for some revenge.
Irish. And her last name was McIntyre.
He looking for some revenge, and he looking to plant a flag in Cleveland. Jesus.
if he would have been Patty McIntyre if they wouldn't have been married when they. I'm just
Foolish.
I don't know their names.
But I'm telling you, it's gonna be a close game.
Okay.
Tyrod Taylor gonna ball out.
I said they covering the spread, so they winning by 14, 28-14.
They got- Nah, you got to cover the spread. 14.5, sir.
It was 13.5. I thought you said
14.5.
You said 13.5.
No, sir, I did not. 14.
You did.
Oh, it is. I did. It's 13.5.
Right. I know what I heard. Yeah, so 28-14. I actually think they could win by more, but I'm going to say 28-14.
Usually you don't see a spread like that in the NFL. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a big spread for the NFL.
I think that's because the Texans are going through it, and the Browns, it's like the Texans was never a top team in the first place, and now that they're going through it, they're on the decline, and Cleveland's on the incline. So
you must not remember the Watson and D-Hop days.
Yeah, Deshaun's had a couple good seasons.
Or the Arian Foster days.
But nah.
They were top in their division.
Yeah, in their division, but the division's only 4 teams.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
A division's only 4 teams.
They were going to the playoffs when the Browns were still thinking about it.
They were going to the playoffs. They were going to the playoffs. I will say that with a young.
They beat us twice. Trust me, I know.
I will say that.
They beat us twice in the playoffs.
Okay, next.
Not happy about it.
We got Broncos Jags.
Broncos.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if I want to give a score for this one because I'm thinking like 2 touchdowns on this one.
The whole time.
Touchdown or 2 touchdowns at least. Broncos gonna wax the Jaguars.
You said at least 2 touchdowns.
Yes, sir. Because the Jaguars definitely do not have the defense that the Giants have, and they embarrass the Giants. So, yeah.
I don't know what I'm leaning for. I definitely don't think I see the Jags pulling out an upset.
I don't either. And Bridgewater balling out there too.
Yeah, Teddy's been doing his thing.
Melvin Gordon balling out there right now.
Melvin need to run for another 500-yard game because
the one that he never had.
Right, we're in the Mandela effect. We're in the Mandela effect, and we need to switch it back around to correct history. So run 1 for 5, Melvin. Shit, Jags would be the team you damn near could too.
Hey, you're not wrong. You
Jags
are not wrong.
Be the team you damn near could if he could rush.
Sound like you taking Denver too.
Yeah, the more I think about it. I mean, I always kind of try to find a way to wiggle for the upset, but I just don't.
Not on this one.
I don't.
Not on this one. I get it. Trust me, I understand. Yeah, you know where I'm going with it.
I think the key for my point prediction is how many do I see Trevor throwing for?
How many picks? Probably about 1 or 2.
No, I think he could throw for 1 TD, and I think he'll probably throw to put themselves in a position for a field goal. So 9 or 10. Ooh, no. I say they miss an extra point on the Trevor Lawrence touchdown, so give him 9.
I mean, the real question is going to be, like, we're talking about a dude, 28 for 51, 332 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in the loss to Houston. This dude is not looking very number 1 overall worthy right now.
Well, my pop's been saying since the beginning he didn't see him being...
I mean, that's just paying attention to college football, if you be honest. If you paid attention and you watched that man through college, you would know he was not a number 1 pick. I don't know where and the analysts and everybody got that hype from.
They've been saying it everywhere. This is his first regular season loss since before high school.
Maybe.
Been gassing,
but when you play in the ACC,
league years up.
His Pee Wee League was ACC shit.
Right. Especially when you got the team you got.
You feel me?
But when I say 9, I'm gonna give the Broncos 24. Yeah, 24-9. And then we got Saints Panthers.
Oh.
I'm going my Saints on that.
I was gonna say I'm going Famous Jameis. What you mean?
I don't think you can question him at the moment.
Famous Jameis, they said we don't even need a Michael fucking Thomas.
Listen,
he can keep fucking around if he wants to.
He's looking like Aaron Brooks in his prime back there in that number 2 jersey.
Man.
I said, who is that back there in number 2? That's Aaron Brooks. They said, no, that's Jameis fucking Winston.
Famous Jameis. Famous Jameis out here throwing 5 touchdowns, man.
He ain't playing.
He came in, he said, who can't see? Fuck y'all.
Right. They must have got him a prescription visor. He got that motherfucker.
Nah, he got that LASIK, you know. That LASIK worked. Jameis gonna be on them LASIK commercials here soon.
Man.
If it worked for me, it could work for you.
I still think Samuel throws for 2.
See, I don't think Sammy Darnold keeps it. I don't think he keeps it going.
I do. I think he throws for 2.
I mean, okay, that's fair. I'm not mad at it.
The question is Jameis. I think Jameis throws for at least 3 and puts himself in a position for at least a rushing touchdown or a field goal. Let's give them both.
Okay.
31-14.
I like that one. I like that score.
Yeah, 31-14.
I'm going to stick with that. I'm with that one too. Okay. So 31 2 weeks in a row for the Saints. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They had 38 against the Packers. Just kidding.
Yeah, they had, I know it was
they shut that shit down.
You said
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looked like he just done. He trying to get the hell out of there.
Listen, I don't know what that. I say it looked like he owed somebody money. Is what it looked like.
Man, whew.
He threw that motherfucker.
It don't help that he out here looking like football.
That one interception he threw looked like a flag football punt. When you just throw it as far as
you just launch it
down the field, and the DB was like 20 yards ahead of the wide receiver. Like, I thought he was gonna call fair catch for a minute. Right, what a pass!
Oh shit!
It's funny. All right, where we at? What's next? Rams Colts.
Ooh, man. Listen, I can't stand the Rams, which is sad because that's my little league team.
Either of these teams.
I'm not. I'm gonna go Colts just because.
Ooh.
I don't see Wentz having 2 bad games in a row, and he's not hurt yet. So I see Wentz doing his damage here. I see Jonathan Taylor definitely putting some work in. So they didn't lose to the Seahawks by that much. 8 points. So I can see them pulling this one off. I'm sorry, Carson Wentz didn't even have a bad game. He doing I see the skills guys stepping up in this one.
I didn't see either these two's previous games last week.
I mean, the Rams beat the Bears by 20. Yeah, if you want to put any stock in that.
And then who'd the Colts play last week?
Seahawks.
Oh yeah.
They lost to the Seahawks by 8. Or by 12. Sorry, 12.
No, I'm going.
But the
Rams.
Seahawks. Yeah, I gotta go Colts. I think I see upset coming.
You got a
Rams on upset alert. 6. Got them by 6.
Colts by 6.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Yeah, this
that
is
part.
interesting. I think it could be a little higher of a score in this game.
I don't see it being too high, not with the Rams defense, and the Colts are not playing bad by any means defensively. Like I said, they only gave up 28 to the Seahawks. And I don't see Matt Stafford really doing a whole lot of damage just yet.
I see this being a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be like ooh, nah, I don't think the Colts are good enough for that. I'm going to give them 35-28.
35-28? That's not bad.
35-28 Rams.
If they going to lose, I could see it being by.
Just a 7, just a touchdown.
Yeah, that's why I say if they lose, I could see it being a touchdown. I still got Colts with the upset.
Yeah, 35. Well, I guess that by 6 would damn near be my score. And then, where we at? I think we only got a couple more. Oh no, we got a few more.
We got a lot more. We only gone through like 3 games.
Yeah, we did. I thought we went through more than that. Okay, Bills, Dolphins.
Bills.
Yeah, we don't got
by 21. I got the mad ruling it.
Ooh.
21. No way that defense is keeping up right now. Not Miami's.
Bills by 21.
Yes, sir. Smacking the Dolphins
at home. Yeah, I think
home.
that's going to be a blowout, too. I'm going to give a score on this. 42-19.
Ooh, shit. I thought I was harsh.
That ain't much off of you. That's 22.
Nah, that's 23.
Oh, 23. Yeah, you right. Then my phone, if my phone didn't block up after every...
Man, listen.
Jets, Patriots. That's going to be a good one.
I think so. I'm taking Pats, though.
You taking the Pats?
Yep. I'm going with the coaching of Bill Belly. Okay. And Mac Jones is looking solid. I'm not going to lie to you. Mac Jones is looking solid.
Okay. So, we can just say... I'm just going Jets. I ain't even going to put a...
I'm not putting a score on that one either.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
I'm going New England, but I'm not going score.
It wouldn't make sense to... Bengals, Bears.
Bears.
Are you going to go Bears against your Bengals?
Listen, as much as I love the Bengals, I think Andy Dalton shows you why they should have kept him as a backup. And he's coming in with some revenge on his mind.
That makes sense.
And their front seven is a little too scary against our offensive line. I don't see it happening. I got Bears by 6.
That makes sense. I go Bears too, actually. I wasn't really convinced to go Bengals. I don't even want to say the next one. We got Buccaneers, Falcons.
Woo, Bucks by like 48. Jesus. Bucks by like 48. Them Falcons look terrible.
Listen.
All I know is this. If the Eagles can put up 38-3,
right,
they better win by 48 points in Tampa Bay.
Right. Then we got Vikings, Cardinals.
Cards.
Yeah, that's who I'm going with. That's definitely who I'm going with. Titans, Seahawks.
Seahawks.
You know that. Cowboys, Chargers.
Chargers.
Ooh, hold up! I gotta think about that one. Yeah, I can't just. I can't.
It's LA. It's LA at home, and I am none too impressed with that Cowboys defense. And they got way too much firepower in LA. Way too much.
They do.
coming off of a win against Washington, which is a pretty solid defense. They running away with that one. I got them by like 14.
Let me put that down here. Yeah, I mean they my AFC West. Wait. Cowboys just came off of a loss too, a real close one.
Buccaneers.
Yeah, something's telling me go Cowboys.
Yeah, 11 carries for 33 yards. Is that what it is? Cowboys. That's got to be what it is. Ezekiel Elliott, 11 carries, 33 yards.
Yep, I saw that. We got
looking like
Chiefs,
Michigan
Ravens.
State. Give me the Chiefs.
You know that.
Them Ravens are depleted. They have no running backs anymore. Yeah, give me Chiefs. 10 by 10.
And then lastly, here's another. Well, no, this one might not be as bad as we think it is, considering how Aaron Rodgers has been playing recently. We got Lions Packers.
I'm going Lions.
You're going Lions.
So the spread is Green Bay because it's at Green Bay, right? So the spread is Green Bay 11.5, right?
Right.
They giving the Lions 11.5. But I'm not gonna lie to you, Jared Goff, that motherfucker can throw a goddamn football. And I don't see them being able to do a whole lot to stop him in Green Bay. I really don't. Especially if he's gonna play the way he did Aaron Rodgers. If he plays the way he did in this last one, oh nah.
Yeah, if he plays the way he did in this last one, it's a wrap. But
I think he really wants out, and he's showing everyone that right now. He wants out. He's done.
But he's can't
done with Green
lower
Bay.
his draft stock because he's too old. Because if he does too bad trying to get out of there, it's going to be like his age a factor, and he's not going to get the paycheck he wants. So
I don't think he wants a paycheck. I think he just wants somewhere where he's going to have more of a say for his team.
Why would you give the declining old man say?
Because he's still Aaron fucking Rodgers.
Man.
Can't name 5 better quarterbacks in the NFL in the past 10 years, much less this one.
Packers. I'm going Packers in this beach.
That's bold, man. That is bold.
Yeah, I'm going Packers.
Damn, is that all the games?
Yeah, that's it.
Shit.
That's all of them. So, I won't ask you any questions since that whole last.
Oh, I gotta hit the showers.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only thing we gonna go out on and hit the showers because that whole last shit was questioned. So no question, just
what whole last shit?
The predictions.
Oh.
All that was questions. So no ending question for this episode. Just hit the showers, and we gonna wrap it up. Who's gonna hit the showers?
My hit the showers is I'm gonna go Ohio State on this one.
Listen,
I'm gonna need Ohio State and their entire fan base.
Oh shit!
And their entire fan base to hit the showers.
Oh shit!
For one sole reason. This team should have never been a top 15 team to start the season off.
Well,
so along with them, I need all of those guys who did those polls to hit the showers. Because y'all
got to do with this. We already taking one
watching
this shit.
I've been so comfortable the last few years with fans seeing me in my Michigan shit and not talking shit. And people not saying nothing because they really weren't worried. But now y'all want to say some shit? Oh, bet. We here.
Listen,
we here. Hit the showers.
Fuck Michigan. It's always that.
We here. Fuck
at least on the field.
Fuck that. Hit the showers.
Once we hit the locker rooms, listen. Well, my hit the showers is going. My hit the showers is going to. I'm giving it to the Washington football team.
What?
Yeah. I'm giving
Not
it
the
to
Giants?
them for spitting sewage out on their fans like that.
Wait, what happened?
You ain't see that?
No.
one of the pipes busted in the top of the stadium and it spit sewage
shit.
down on all of the fans.
Hey, it sounded about right for Washington,
That's
though.
what I was. Listen. Listen. That's what y'all get for building y'all stadium on an Indian burial ground, bitches.
That too.
That's why y'all had to change the name, because y'all
shit.
kept getting cursed. And they said, one more before we go and leave y'all alone. Let's spray sewage on y'all motherfuckers. I know that was a bad night for motherfuckers, especially the ones that had to drive there. Your whole family got to ride home naked.
Or smelling like shit.
Or
literally.
No. Y'all, we're stopping at the concessions. And y'all are giving me a change, and my family a change of clothes.
Hey, I probably would have demanded that shit too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not driving back home with this shit on.
Literally.
Right. Right. That is so fucking crazy to me, man. I don't know what I'd have done. I would have flipped out, and if I'd have had my child with me, I'd have want to put hands on somebody.
Right. Especially in this day and age, in this world, man.
Oh my god.
I don't know what people been doing in that bathroom.
Oh my gosh, that was just awful. Yeah, they gotta hit the showers, and I hope you got your plumbing right for the next game. Cause now I wouldn't listen, motherfuckers gotta worry about COVID and all this shit.
Yeah.
You out there popping shit pipes on fans out there in Washington. What's going on, man? I don't know what y'all doing at the White House, at the Redskins Stadium. I don't know what's going on.
Listen, the whole shit just fucked up in DC.
Hit the showers.
The whole place just hit the whole showers.
All Jesus. That's all I got. You got anything to take us out?
Nah, I'm all good, man. We covered everything.
I think so. Well, to all my shower heads, we'll be back on this Wednesday to cover week 2 of NFL. So y'all be good or be good at it. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, yeah, I guess I would have to. There we go.